Hey y'all, it's Brian Krogsgard or Ledger Status, and this video is pretty simple. I'm shilling you ZCash. Why? Because I just see such a disconnect out there in the land of crypto Twitter over ZCash. It is the cool thing to say that ZCash is never going to go up, it's always going to go down, because that's what it's always done. It's always been that way because of the founder's reward and because of the inflation and all these things. We're going to talk about that. But before we get to all the fundamental stuff, let's just quickly look at the USD chart. I want you to take yourselves away from your bias and just take a look at what we see here, which is basically a forever trend line on the USD pair that broke up, trailed along, broke up again, and formed what looks in my mind to be a pretty clean head and shoulders. Slopes a little up towards the right side, which just makes it stronger to me, which gives it a target of around $111. If you were to enter at the retest of that head and shoulders at $81, $82, that gives you a pretty nice return. Horizontally, the first resistance is around $107. It doesn't take a whole lot to move a little bit in this scenario. Historically, it had another head and shoulders after it had bled for days when it was initially released, and then it had a large move up. You know, it had high inflation and it had a founder's reward and all that stuff that was the bad fundamental case that you guys like to talk to me about on Twitter back then too. But it was able to go up, just like with the rest of the market. You say, okay, well, what about the Bitcoin pair? Well, I admit the Bitcoin pair is historically pretty terrible. I once said this was the most scary chart I've ever seen or something like that, and I drew this ridiculous picture of Zuko. Let's get past that, but recall it did move in 2017 as well, of course, with the rest of the market. Let's go from here, yet again, clean, linear trend line. It doesn't even have to get to 0.0125 and it's still on that trend line. So it's got a ways to go. If it breaks up again above that, you could play it from there. Just look at the chart. You can have a tight stop and have a quality trade here. Let's look a little further. Let's see, we're going to turn on Super Guppy because I showed that earlier today. It is obviously wrecked on that Bitcoin pair. But look at this 3-day on the US dollar pair. Clean breakout from the Guppy. Now let's look at the cloud. It's got an edge-to-edge trade in the cloud. This is very similar to the Bitcoin and Ethereum ones that Josh and I have been talking about on the podcast. Pretty new there. And now let's look at it with some moving averages. And you can see it is just above the 100-day moving average. I'm sorry, the 100-bar moving average, and then the 200-bar moving average is up there by that cloud. Long ways to go to get back to that mean reversion. If you look at it on the daily, every single moving average crossed over for itself there. The cloud is fully bull. It's telling you that this is a market that has reversed on the dollar pair. Oftentimes, these dollar pairs can give us a hint for what to expect on the USD pair. Even a test of the 200-day moving average takes you to 0.014, which is more than a 40% gain even after the move it's had the last couple of days, if it can make it back to that 200-day moving average. And again, you can always apply a stop, a tight stop, on a play like this. You don't have to bag hold ZCash because it goes against you. I just wanted to show you, if you just look at this like a chart, to me, this looks like a pretty clean double bottom. At this point, I might wait for it to break above that prior level, make a higher high, some kind of handle there, something like that on this Bitcoin pair. And if you wanted to play it tight, you could go back to the previous breakdown, 0.0125, something like that. That's a pretty clean play. I just wanted to highlight that this is not an obscene thing. Now, if we go to the news, there's this Ycash, a friendly fork of Zcash is what Zuko said. I don't know anything about this, but this is happening in July 2019. People love their forks, so that interests me. People talk about the mining and the inflation. Well, we're about a little over a year away from the first ZCash halvening. Happens at the end of 2020. So you might think to yourself, well, should I start accumulating ZCash in 2020? But we don't know the state of the broader market. ZCash will float up with the rest of the market if we are shifting and moving to a bullish market. This may be some of the cheapest ZCash prices that you can find. And the founder's reward goes completely away 4 years after it's created, which is around the same time as that halvening. So what you're saying is the founder's reward that everybody complains about is apparently going away in about a year. Again, that's good news if you are looking to participate in the land of ZCash. So does that mean ZCash has amazing fundamentals and all that? I don't know. I just know that I like this USD chart. I like the return to mean play for the Bitcoin chart. And I think most of the stuff that people are whining about in terms of the fundamentals are going to be a relative non-issue in about a year. That's the case for ZCash. I don't even hold ZCash right now, but my kids do. My kids trade smarter than me. We're going to try to be patient, look for at least this $100 plus target unless the Bitcoin market itself turns in a big way against us. And I just think you should give it another look. Be careful about just making fun of things or giving something a hard time because that's what you see in the parlance of Twitter. It might not be that way forever. All right, you do you. This isn't advice for you to buy. This is just showing you another look at something that you may think you already know everything about. Have a good day.